Everybody, we have a real treat for you now because we are sitting down with Guam's top cop, none other than Joe Cruz, the Chief of Police, to talk about various matters of island security and what he and his colleagues at the Guam Police Department are doing to keep all of us safe. Chief, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Always good to see you. And I must say, the last time we had you here in studio was right before FestPac. So, congratulations for running an amazing event. There was a very strong police presence, it was known that it was a secure environment and that, GPD was there to help and to keep things running. But by no means did any of the contingents say they felt, pressured or intimidated or anything like that. But they said they all attribute that to you guys.
Well, I would tell you it was a concerted effort with all the local law enforcement entities as well as our federal partners as well. So I think it was everybody coming together that made safety and security for FestPac a successful event.
All right. Well, as long as I've known you, you've always been a man who believes in formulating a plan, and then it's one thing to say you put it together, but you also execute on your plans. And I think last week GPD shared with us a series of objectives or pillars, if you will, about what you're trying to do to establish safety and security within the island. So let's go over those.
Sure. So it's always been an initiative of the Guam Police Department to place the community at the center of everything we do. So that being said, we've adopted the community policing concept as the model of policing that we will employ in the Guam Police Department. And for many reasons, we've decided to do that. But primarily, it's because we see that here on our island, taking into consideration the size of our island, the culture, the diversity, that the community policing concept or model is the best way to police our community. And in that, what we mean is that it allows the Guam Police Department to really embed themselves in the community, to really get out there and understand what the issues, the questions and concerns are that the community has.
Boots on the ground?
Boots on the ground. Okay. It's us actually interfacing with the community. And the community is everybody from the people in the neighborhood to the business partners, our government partners, our military partners. It's the community across the spectrum coming together to watch over one another, to keep our island safe. So that being said, we see it as that's the best model to employ. So in doing that, over the last about 15 months or so, we've come up with a lot of different initiatives to be able to address those issues that exist in the community. And in doing that, it's about taking the emphasis in the Guam Police Department and redirecting some of that energy, some of those resources and that emphasis to where our officers truly interface with the community. And that's out in our patrol operations, our neighborhood patrol division. So last week, the press conference that we had was it was primarily to highlight that the Guam Police Department is taking things to that level where we are now redirecting some of our resources within the department to be able to address that. So that being said, we are taking a contingent out of our criminal investigations division, as well as some of our officers from our special operations division, as well as our community assisted policing effort volunteers and our civilian volunteer police reservists, and pushing that into the direction of our patrol operations, the 4 precincts that we have, districts 1 and 2, Dededo Precinct, Tumon Precinct, Hagatna Precinct, and Agate Precinct, to increase our presence in the community, to be able to show that we're out there in the community. And it's to get those officers out of their patrol cars, off their police motorcycles, and getting into the community and talking to the community and understanding what are the issues they're dealing with and what can we do to collaborate with each other back and forth to keep that community safer.
It's kind of like, maybe an analogy I can use is like us as a broadcasting company, we put out certain products and we've got like apps and websites that people can check to, but it's still critical to us that we actually have to interact with our audience and figure out who they are, what they like about us, what concerns they have with us and everything like that, and how we can get better to do that. Is that
very much
consistent?
So? It's very similar. I mean, that's the same concept, if you will. It's getting out into the public and seeing what is affecting them from a public safety standpoint, from a law enforcement standpoint, and what can we do as the Guam Police Department to render a better service so that we better serve and protect our people, we have a safer community. So that's the interaction that's going on. And I will tell you, we get a lot of support from the Office of the Lieutenant Governor, Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio.
A former police officer.
Former police officer, yes. So he truly understands what we are dealing with in the police department. And he knows what it's like when the community is reaching out to the police department to collaborate back and forth so that we can create a safer community. So through his efforts, we have come up with a more updated version of the Neighborhood Watch program, which allows us to, again, interact with the community so that the community can assist the Guam Police Department in watching out for each other, utilizing the look, listen, and report model to help keep each other safe, to help the Guam Police Department keep the community safe.
And one of the big, it's not just a marketing slogan, it's also a mission statement. And I'm sure you would agree with your military background, the whole see something, say something
Absolutely,
approach.
absolutely. And that's what it's all about. It's watching out for each other's, their residents or their businesses, if you will. It's just a concerted effort across the board to allow the community to look out for each other. And if they see something, report that to the Guam Police Department and then let the authorities come in there and deal with that accordingly.
And it's interesting, Chief, for someone who grew up on Guam, as I did, and I was very fortunate to do so, bringing in people like yourself, like a very tenured police officer, someone like Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio, who's been a patrolman, as you said.
Sure.
Do you think that's taking like almost what would be considered like an old school approach to how GPD used to be? Like during the times of Phil Dennis was one of the most popular policemen because he really tried to go out and do what Officer Paul Tapao is doing now, and like going out, having like a lot of outreach and interaction with the community.
I think it's a combination of both, if you will. It's a matter of taking those traditional concepts, those traditional mindsets, if you will, and then putting an updated, taking the new perspective, the new technologies, if you will. Using your smartphone and using WhatsApp and using all the other applications that are out there to be able to take those a little bit older, more traditional concepts, but bring it into the 21st century, bring it into 2016 and make the community even safer.
You're almost upgrading the business of security.
Absolutely. So back in the day where cell phones weren't, everybody didn't have a cell phone. Now everybody has a cell phone. Everybody has a smartphone, so that you're able to help keep each other and use those technologies to your advantage, to our advantage, to keep the community safer.
How has the business of securing the island, as a resident of Guam and as a proud Guamanian, how has it really changed in the decades that you've been affiliated with GPD?
I will tell you that it's a very dynamic situation that's going on. It evolves a lot, it changes a lot, the laws change, the dynamics of our demographics change as well. We're dealing with a very diverse community, and as a police department, as a law enforcement entity, being able to keep up with those changes is critical. It's good to bring back the old school, but it's also bringing back the old school and applying a new school mentality to it. So we're taking concepts that have been around for a while, they've been around for decades, but applying it in a new way, if you will, using 2016 technologies, but then understanding that the laws change and our population grows and the diversity of the population continues to grow, and being able to adjust to that is also very key.
Well, I want to talk about in our next segment about how the community can actually get more involved and help you. So we'll talk about that when we return.